The context was definitely necessary.
Before we talk about where we are, we must first remember from whence we came. Marty Schottenheimer brought winning football back to Kansas City and built what is now known as Chiefs Kingdom.
We transitioned from a team built on its defense in the 90s to one of the most dominant offenses and return men in NFL history, led by Dick Vermeil.
In 2012, a 2-14 Chiefs team displayed disastrous play on the field and turmoil off it. We asked to save our Chiefs, and in came Andy Reid, who immediately turned this franchise into a perennial playoff team.
Then, on April 27, 2017, the Chiefs broke free from their journeyman quarterback restraints and drafted Patrick LeVon Mahomes.
In 6 years with Patrick at the helm, we're back-to-back champs and a dynasty headed towards a three-peat. We are unrelenting for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the allies. Arrowhead Allies.
And ladies and gentlemen, from the Starcade Studios, you are looking live. It is our Halloween Havoc Super Show here. Arrowhead Allies is on the air, and you are looking at what is going to be a very fine show. We might look a little different today. We are going full on with the Halloween. Halloween Havoc is upon us, but we got to get a little serious for a moment because our guest at this time demands just that. He is former Kansas City Chief from 1984 to 1993. And again in 1997, the defensive backs coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who will be coming to Arrowhead on Monday night, hoping for all tricks, no treats. That is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kevin Ross Rock joins us right here. Kevin, I hope you could deal with all the Halloween, all the shenanigans going on here, because we brought it today, my friend.
You guys are funny, man.
We're normally very professional, so don't let this fool you.
No, I like that you addressed the past. I really like you addressed the past to your fan base. That's nice.
We're all about it. That's the past is what made us what we are here, Kevin, you and your teams, the 90s. My goodness, that's why we do what we do. So we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be celebrating, Super Bowl championships. We wouldn't have this era without the groundwork that you guys laid in the 90s. So that's the truth.
Thank you.
Well, Rock, we got to talk about just kind of this game on Monday night. Obviously, you're the cornerbacks coach there for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What's the emotions like when you come back into Arrowhead, having played here all those many years? Do you still get chills? Just what are the emotions? Take us through that when you walk back through that tunnel and walk onto Arrowhead.
Well, we understand the atmosphere for sure. I know I don't warn our people about, when you come up in there, you got to be right. You got to be right mentally. You got to be right physically when you come up in there. It's going to be a hell of an atmosphere. We understand that part and just got to go out and do what we do.
Kevin, this is Alan here with my baby Carlos. Listen, I have a very serious question about this matchup because I know you're the perfect guy to be talking to when it comes to this matchup because the Chiefs just recently acquired, in my opinion, a future Hall of Famer in DeAndre Hopkins. And you saw it early and often last week against the Raiders that Patrick Mahomes and DeAndre Hopkins are developing a chemistry very quickly, very rapidly. And this is going to be something I know that you and the defensive team are going to be looking at all week long because I know this is something that is going to be part of the way the Chiefs execute from here on out is to try to get that ball downfield to DeAndre Hopkins and utilizing Travis Kelce a little bit more. the challenge of seeing a team that's been limited like the Chiefs all season long, see them get a second wind. Where are you going to be attacking, in your opinion, if you're looking at a team like DeAndre Hopkins or Travis Kelce at the same time? Which one of those guys are you going to try to neutralize first? Because I know that Travis has been the lifeblood, but D-Hop's the fresh blood.
Well, I don't see you as a limited team. You got number 15 playing quarterback. That's first and foremost. I don't see no limitations. And D-Hop, we've had experiences with him. I understand what kind of receiver he is. He's very physical. He's great hands, strong hands, runs really good routes. We got our hands full in every phase of the game, you know. And then you got Kelce, who understands Mahomes like no other. So you got to put the pieces. You got the right pieces. We have to just play disciplined football. We got to do our jobs as individuals. We just got to do our jobs.
Kevin, it's an honor to have you on this show. I cannot thank you enough. I was 14 years old when you were drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs, and the way you played the game was it was all heart and all emotion, and you left it out on the field. You made us want to cheer even louder, even from 84 to 88, those lean years. You, Duron, Lloyd Burris, and Albert Lewis were inspiring. That when we went from Bud Carson to Walt Corey to defensive coordinators, when we finally got to Bill Cowher, we knew that they were going to take that defense to a whole new level, which was already great. Kevin, I do a post-game show on here with Harvey Williams, the former Chief and Raider. We had Todd McNair on here 2 days ago. He said he spent some time with you, the former Buccaneer coach, former Chief, and he loves you. I love you. I'm in awe. I mean, I'm dressed as a Buccaneer. I'm a Buccaneer witch. I'm a Buccaneer witch.
You better be careful when hanging out in Kansas City, man. They'll kill you.
We're kicking him off the show, Kevin. It's over.
You better be careful, man.
I don't normally dress like this, but what I want to say was, and I know Noah's got this highlight, 2 years ago, Chiefs undrafted 7th round draft pick Jalen Watson became the second player in Chiefs franchise history to have his first NFL interception return for a touchdown, his first game at Arrowhead. The other one was you, Kevin, your first home opener at Arrowhead Stadium. You took a 71-yard interception return. As a rookie, you were being picked on by Jim Plunkett. Do you remember that game? What can you tell us about that phenomenal interception as a rookie?
I could tell you what happened before that. My first game against Pittsburgh wasn't very good. And I promised myself and I promised my teammates that I'd never play like that again. And, I just honed in a little bit more. I try to leave my guts out there and sweat and tears out there on that field for everybody. When I played, I was representing my family, friends, and everybody else. I wasn't thinking about myself in particular. I was really just trying to knock the shit out of people when I played. That's the basic line. It was either going to be me or him. That's how I felt about it.
Hell yeah.
Man, you kick ass.
Let's take a look at this quick highlight, and then we'll get to Clint's question on the other side.
3rd and 10. Intercepted. That's going to be a touchdown. Kevin Ross. 70 yards for the rookie, Kevin Ross. His first NFL interception goes 71 yards for a score, and the Chiefs lead it 9-0.
Love it, man. Love it.
Great to see Jim Plunkett in dire straits there. But Coach Rock, I mean, your defense, your secondary has had big time success against the Kansas City Chiefs before, particularly this little game called Super Bowl 55. I was at the game, but my memory is so vague. I feel like the Chiefs may have lost that game, and maybe your defense completely dominated the Chiefs. But knowing that Baker Mayfield is having the success he's having on your offense without Chris Godwin, without Mike Evans, the fact that you guys were able to score at such a high rate there, in this last game in a loss to the Atlanta Falcons, but keeping it close there, the offense is scoring. How much pressure do you think that takes off of your defense, knowing that Baker's lighting it up, and it really seemingly can get the ball to any number of players, regardless of who's in there for the offense.
Well, today's game is a little different than it was in the 80s. You got to have everybody's have to have their backups ready to go and roll. There is no such thing as starters, and then backups. These guys, to me, they all need to be prepared like they're starting. We don't try to make any excuses for who's out there playing. We just go out there and play. And that's the way the team's mindset is. They go out there to play regardless of who's out there. It's 11 on 11 no matter what. And that's the way it is.
Rock, talk to us about your young cornerbacks there. I mean, I know you got McCollum, Funderburk, and then Isaac and Hayes, and how they've been developing throughout this season.
Well, I'm just trying to really right now develop their mentality, their mentality, trying to get them to grow mentally. This, up here in this league right here, it's a neck up league. Everybody has pretty much the same ability physically wise. It's just a matter now who's going to break who mentally and who's going to put that extra work in to understand what details need to be handled and things like that right there. So that's what we're working on right now, and just trying to get them guys to go play to play. There's going to be 8 or 10 plays that they have to be factors on every game for everybody. And that's just the way it is. That's the NFL football.
Kevin, we have a guy here in Kansas City that has the same position that you do, or same job that you do, and that's Dave Merritt. And I think he goes wildly underrated in most conversations to be had, because we know that Steve Spagnuolo is a genius. He's a revered defensive coordinator in the world in the world of the NFL. With 4 Super Bowl titles, and I think right now the Chiefs have the best defense in the league right now. But I think Dave Merritt plays a big role in that, and being able to develop this rotating door of young developing cornerbacks that play big roles in big moments of big games for the Chiefs over these last several years. And it's a mystery to me that Dave Merritt hasn't gotten an opportunity to be a defensive coordinator yet. And I don't know if that's an end game for you, or what your end game is for yourself, whether you're happy with where you're at or you want to become a DC head coach one of these days. But is that something that you can envision for Dave Merritt in these next few years, or is that something you want to do as well? Like, how do you see this going in the next 4 or 5 years for you guys?
First of all, Dave's a good friend of mine. I like Dave. You're right. He has developed young talent. These guys are playing phenomenal for Kansas City in the back end. They make a lot of plays. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They play off each other very well. And that's the secondary I played with when I was in Kansas City, did it the same type of way. I'm sure he has aspiration of being a coordinator or head coach at one point in time. Myself, I could take it or leave it. I just like football, period. I just like being around the guys that keep you young. I'm still into it. I have no aspirations of leaving it. I talk to Tom Moore all the time. Tom Moore is one of the coaches here that's been in the league 50-something years, and I asked him why he has not retired. He says to me, if I retire, I'll probably die, and I feel the same way. Wow. If I get buried, I'd like to get buried in that stadium, or I would like to go to my high school, whatever, but I belong on the football field one way or the other, because I just love the game so much.
Rock. Love that.
Kevin, if you want to see more highlights if you want to see that specific highlight of your rookie interception, just go to Shaggy Shane YouTube and just look up Kevin Ross rookie interception for touchdown 1984, and that's where it's on there. I got Todd McNair's first touchdown, Harvey Williams' first touchdown. So if you want to see that and keep that for yourself, you enjoy that.
I got some good news for you. I'm from New Jersey, so you know where NFL Films is? I'm a half hour away from an NFL Film, so I can get there in a heartbeat.
I just want you to have all the highlights because people need to see your greatness and how you freaking just kicked ass. Speaking of kicking ass, Kevin, you're a coach now, and correct me if I'm wrong. In the Chiefs AFC Championship game, you had a broken hand, right? You had you wore a cast, so you had to go to your coaches and say, I'm going to play this freaking game with my freaking hand broke. That AFC Championship game, Kevin, meant that much to you that you were going to play with a broken hand. You had to go to your coaches and say, I'm playing. Now you're a defensive backs coach. If an athlete, you're one of your corners that you know is all heart. I'm not going to say they're like you because there's nobody like Kevin Ross. If a guy comes to you and says, Coach, I got this broken hand, I can still play. How do you navigate that?
If he wants to play,
whose decision is that?
If he wants to play and the trainer says he's okay to play, then he plays. Myself, I wasn't listening to a championship game. Who knows how many times you're going to have the opportunity to play in the championship game? Yeah. I got operated on that Monday or Tuesday, and we played the game Saturday, I think. It hurt. And I ain't going to sit here and lie. I had pins in my thumb, and when I was hitting people, the pins were bending. So when they pulled the pins out, it was very painful. But hey, it's a championship game. I'm not. If I could walk or talk, I'm playing in that championship game.
Hell yeah.
Rock, you're making me long for the past here. That's the era that we all grew up on and kind of miss it. So, Kevin, I'm dressed here as the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and I have to make this connection because, the Nature Boy's a Tampa guy. He's a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. He's been around the program. He's talked to the team. My question to you is, have you ever had a chance to meet Ric Flair there in Tampa when he's been around the Bucs?
Man, all them wrestlers around here. I see them all. I guess this is like the training facility or something for them.
Hulk Hogan lives there too at Clearwater Beach. So, yeah, they're all down there.
It's a bunch of them down here. They're all championship wrestlers. They support us. So that's appreciated. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's just, I've seen Flair give, he's given speeches to the Bucs. He wears the Bucs jerseys. And I'm just sporting the Nature Boy. We're kind of nostalgic people here, Rock, if you can't tell. We kind of, the Chiefs have won 3 Super Bowls, and yet a part of us, we keep one foot at least in the 80s or 90s, somewhere in there. So that's just kind of how we do it here.
I appreciate that. I really do. I really do. Your team is doing very well. They're a hell of a team, hell of a franchise. I got a lot of love for a lot of people back there in Kansas City. If I'm not playing against Kansas City, I'm a Kansas City fan. So I know what kind of atmosphere this is going to be, and we look forward to the challenge.
Yeah, the Chiefs Kingdom today is great because of you, Kevin. Guys like you that came along and were bleeding Chiefs red and left it out on the line. Like you said, you had pins in your hands playing in the AFC Championship game. You came out there with a cast and you busted your ass, man. You're a freaking inspiration to what Chiefs Kingdom is now. So when you're seeing 78,000 fans say home of the Chiefs Monday night for the national anthem, they're saying that for you too, Rock. I don't care. They're saying it for you too.
I appreciate that. I can remember we got beat 30-0 against Houston. And
yes.
Then we came back to Houston and beat them. And I can remember the fans being there, and I can remember the national anthem being there. And when I heard that home of the Chiefs thing, I was like, wow, there's no way we can, there's no way we could lose this game right now. We owed them, and we did it.
Oh yes.
Turned out good. I want to give a shout out though to Chris Martin. Chris Martin actually is the guy that started that chopping.
Yes.
And him and Derek Thomas's program to going to schools and getting involved with the community. Carl Peterson helping us getting involved with the community to get the fans back out there and things like that. And it worked out for everybody. Now they are who they are. And I think the fan base needed that, and they deserved that at that time. Sorry, I couldn't give you a championship, but you got them now, so you're good.
Hey, your heart gave us a championship, and Chris Martin had a 100-yard fumble return against the Miami Dolphins in October of '91. So we love Chris Martin, number 57, buddy. Hell yes.
Sure did.
Oh, boy.
All right, we are going to hit you with our final four questions for you, Rock. I'm going to start it off just when Marty Schottenheimer, Carl Peters came in '89. Just talk about the culture shift, and if you think Marty Schottenheimer should be in the Hall of Fame. I think he made the finalist list as it's narrowing down here.
Oh, he definitely should be in the Hall of Fame. He turned the team around. He turned the franchise around. I met Carl Peterson. First of all, he had drafted me in the USFL in Philadelphia. I went to Temple University. He had drafted me there. So I met him in New Jersey for the first time at a diner. When he got the job in Kansas City, the first thing he asked me was, what did I think? And I said, I think we need to toughen up a little bit out there. And he brought Schottenheimer, and Schottenheimer toughened us up. I'm telling you, we had 20 straight days. You can't do that now, but you had 20 straight days of hitting 2-a-day practices, 3-hour practices, tackling guys like Christian Okoye and Barry Word and Billy Jones and all these other folks. It was tough. It's tough sledding.
Kevin,
go ahead,
yeah, Kevin, I've always been a big fan of Todd Bowles. I love his stoicism. I love the way he goes about things. He's just he's like a man's man. He's very, it never seems like he's too high or too low, but I know there's got to be a little bit of I feel, and maybe it's just a hunch of mine, but I feel like he's got a sense of humor that he doesn't show on camera. Can you confirm this with me? Because I feel like this man's got some good jokes.
I can confirm it. Confirm it because I went to school with him at Temple.
Yes.
Todd and I we played together in college. So yeah, he's a very funny dude. You couldn't tell it on TV, but he's a very funny guy. He's very intelligent, very intelligent. He's funny. He does have a good sense of humor.
I love it. I love that you confirmed that for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Kevin, what I'll say is the same thing I told Todd McNair 2 days ago on my show. I want to say, if the Chiefs didn't get a Super Bowl ring, if they had to lose it to anybody, I'm glad you got one, Todd. And Kevin, I'm really glad you got one because you deserve it. And I hope you wear that Super Bowl ring proudly because you deserve to have a Super Bowl ring. Your defensive back showed up in the Super Bowl. I was overconfident. I was feeling sorry for the Buccaneers before the Super Bowl because I thought the Chiefs were going to curb stomp them. But you guys, your defensive backs came out. Your defensive backs came and shut us down. And if there's one guy besides Todd McNair that deserves to have a Super Bowl ring, it's you, Kevin. And if we have to surrender that loss to anybody, you wear that Super Bowl ring proudly.
I definitely will.
My final question is, what's your favorite barbecue restaurant in Kansas City?
Well, my oldest daughter's going to be out there for the game. And I told her, now I don't want to stomp on nobody's franchise, but I've been to them all. I've been to Oklahoma Joe's. I've been to Gates. I've been to Q39 and the whole snap. So I don't know which one's going to get me, but one of them's going to get me after.
Just say yes.
Yes. Somebody in that parking lot better feed me too.
Oh, you get it.
They will.
You've had to trade the barbecue for Cuban sandwiches, but it's not a bad trade out there. I love the Cubans out in Tampa Bay. I'll tell you that.
Not bad.
My last thing here, Coach, and we can't thank you enough. And that is in 1992, the Chiefs drafted Dale Carter, a corner out of Tennessee, very talented. Can you give us a good Dale Carter story, an appropriate one? I don't know if one exists, but if you have a good appropriate one.
Well, I want to say this about him. I thought Dale Carter was the best athletic corner I've been around. Very tough, could cover, could do all the things he needed to do. I wish his career was longer, and I wish he didn't, deviate off the field. But he's a hell of a player. He's a great player. The Chiefs have been blessed with some really, really good DBs. Really good DBs.
Amen.
Tremendous. Well, thank you so much, Coach. We'll see you here Monday Night Football, Chiefs and Buccaneers. What a moment it's going to be. Great to have you. Thank you so much for taking your time, and we'll see you on Monday.
Hey, do me a favor.
You bet.
Send me the game plan.
I got you.
Anything for you, Rock. Even a loss, even handing you over the game plan. Anything for Rock.
Yeah, send me the game plan. That'd be helpful.
You got it.
I'll email that to you after the show.
Okay.
We'll run it by Coach Reed, and we'll get you that. We're good.
I'm sure he won't have any problems. So,
thanks, Coach.
Always an honor. Take care, my friend.
That was the Rock. Kevin Ross, the defensive backs coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah. Where else would you find that? I'm sure, guys, as you're navigating around X and you're going to all the different Chiefs accounts, you probably would just find that interview anywhere. You just walk on to any Chiefs account, and there's an interview with the current defensive backs coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's everywhere. So why come here? Why even trust Arrowhead Allies? Why even try to go to the top of the mountaintop and ride Space Mountain when you can get it anywhere all over Chiefs Twitter? Why even try? Because when you're in here at Arrowhead Allies, you're talking to what? The diamond ring wearing, what? Rolex wearing, limousine riding, jet flying, sons of guns, 3-time defending Super Bowl champions, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo! That's it. Happy Halloween. It's like my favorite holiday, I think.
It is.
Life, baby.
Same.
Man, I love Kevin Ross, man. I turned into total fanboy because I grew up watching him dominate.
Yeah.
The dude leaves it on the field. Gosh, man, that was freaking the funnest I've ever had, man, on Arrowhead Allies. That meant a lot to me because I would go sit and watch. I would go to Arrowhead by myself between 1984 and 1988 and just freaking – I'd have a whole aisle to myself. I would sit there and I'd be on the edge of my seat, and we'd be 1-6-1, and freaking Kevin Ross would still be kicking ass. He'd be going to freaking Pro Bowls.
How badass would it be,
man?
How badass would it be if we could take this time right now, go in a time machine and go back to that time and meet Shaggy at that age and at that stadium? Hey, Shaggy, just to let you know, in less than 40 years from now, this team's gonna have a quarterback that's gonna give you 3 Super Bowls and counting. What do you think about that? And I would love to see your reaction in that moment, seeing how bad this team is in the 80s, to see that, you know what I mean? Like,
that's a Back to the Future 4 type scenario.
Yes! I love it.
Oh, man, that'd be
Lifetime
surreal,
should have
man.
picked that one up.
The space-time continuum that could wind up having Patrick Mahomes never drafted here. The Chiefs take Mitch Trubisky, and history is made. So we can't mess with the space-time continuum, guys.
I'll back off. I'll back off.
Yeah, we don't want that.
We got to get into we got to get into this Raiders game. Look at the Chiefs stats here. Patrick Mahomes had a really good game, which I know a lot of people aren't used to. Stats wise, he's always plays good, comes up in the big moments, but stats wise, he has a great game. Kareem Hunt's not a good average, but they're just running the ball, keeping you honest, taking time off the clock, getting the first downs with Travis Kelce. We saw some of DeAndre Hopkins, what he's going to be able to provide when he's getting more snaps and more involved in the offense and learning the playbook. Xavier Worthy got a touchdown. He's showing a little bit more. Noah Gray, Mr. Reliable. And guys, I just don't know about this offense here. I like the Ravens out there. I like the Lions, but I don't know. Chiefs keep winning. They're 7-0, so they're doing something right here.
Hell yes.
What's happening is they're developing. You're seeing the development. This is why I brought up to Kevin about the fact that, yes, I understand when you have 15, you're never ultimately limited. But let's be real, guys. It has been a tougher season for the Chiefs offensively, and now we're seeing them get some juice, and that juice is D-Hop. And I don't know if we need to put this narrative to bed officially, but I've been trying to, and I think he did it for himself this week. But Travis Kelce is showing us that when he needs to do it, he still can very much do it. He is getting opportunities out there to show he can still produce, and that's exactly what he did. On the Spoken podcast last week, I said that Travis Kelce was going to have 90 yards and a touchdown. That is exactly what he had in this game. It's not because I thought that it was going to be some blow-up game for Travis Kelce. It's just because I knew it was a game that he was going to rise for, and that's exactly what happened. But furthermore, it's because of the fact they finally have a wide receiver that can get some respect. Because Rashee Rice was garnering that respect. He was gaining that respect across the league, but he was still a young pup in this league. D-Hop is a legend. He is an all-decades type of guy. This league knows and respects him. Kevin Ross said it himself. Oh, we've had many experiences with that dude. Like, he says that with reverence. So when you have that guy added to the equation, a guy who's had an identical career, at least regular season-wise, to Travis Kelce, you know the defense are going to start game planning for him as well. And so whether he has a lot of production or no production at all, just having him on the field is going to open up things for Travis Kelce and this run game when Pacheco's back with Kareem Hunt as a dual threat. This is going to make this offense that much better and that much scarier, guys. And you saw a preview of it in this Raiders game, and I think you're going to see that continue to grow as the season progresses, man. So I don't know about you guys, but I was very excited by what I saw from this offense in this game, primarily from the red zone effect as well, because they've struggled so much there, and I thought they were a lot better in the red zone this time around.
You know what this 7-0 start has done to me? It makes me realize one thing. That as frustrated as we've become in some of the games, you need a goal line stop, a 4th down stop to beat the Falcons, kind of a fluky win over the Bengals after a penalty gets called, puts the Chiefs in field goal range, and we're just not lighting up the scoreboard. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look like 2018, but you know what I've come to respect? We can all think back to our worst relationship we ever had, the most up and down, emotional highs and lows, and having to deal with that, having to deal with constant criticism or problems or drama. We can all remember that. Well, that's every other team in the National Football League has to live that each and every week. You know what the Chiefs are? They're that couple that your best friend's parents, and you just looked at them like, man, they've been together for 50 years and they still hold hands. They look like they're absolutely in love. They're not too high. They're not too low. They don't fight. And they probably don't have huge displays of romantic affection still at their age. It may not be just the most, unbelievably visual thing you've ever seen in your life. They may not look like a Hollywood couple that's making out in a movie, but you know what? It's solid and it works and it gets the job done. And I've come to respect it because the rest of the NFL is psychotic. Teams don't know who they are week to week. It changes. We just pulled it up. Who's the best team in the NFL? Oh, it's the Lions. Did you see them?
Yep.
We know what this is. The Kansas City Chiefs guys have molded us into this, what we are, and we have to admire it and we have to start respecting it.
That's well said, man.
I mean,
yeah, we got to respect these stats. Shane, if you want to talk about some of these stats, Mahomes 30,000 pass yards. But first, Travis Kelce, 75 touchdowns receiving for a tight end. That moves him into 5th place all time, moving ahead of Jason Witten here. And then, like I said, the 30,000 passing yards, fastest to do it in 103 games, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, hell yeah, baby. You got to love that. I mean, that speaks for itself. He got the Kermit back. But 103 games, he's the fastest to 30,000 yards. It's shocking considering he was the fastest. He was still the fastest, even though the issues that we've had with wide receivers this year and last year. That just speaks even higher of what he did the first 4 years in the league. I mean, the fact that he's doing it now, when he's just now getting Hopkins. I didn't want Hopkins to play because I felt like it would be too much to put on his plate. I wanted him to get acclimated. I didn't want to have to worry about him pulling a hamstring or him throwing out and Patrick Mahomes throwing a pass in. It was intercepted. I was concerned about timing, but they on those 2 receptions were huge. If you remember, the Chiefs were in line for a 59-yard field goal attempt with 7 seconds left in the first half, and Patrick Mahomes quickly took the snap, took 2 steps to his right, and hit Diop for 16 yards, and he got out of bounds. Easier field goal attempt. What was it, a 44, 45-yarder? So that was like, wow, all he did was run a quick out. Patrick Mahomes hit him. It only took 4 seconds, 16 yards. You moved up considerably. So specifically about the offense, the only thing that concerns me is I am worried about Kareem Hunt getting beat to death. With 8 minutes left in the game, there was nothing left to Kareem Hunt, in my opinion. He was laying on the ground after the play, having his arms out, trying to get somebody to help him pick him up. On one time, they didn't help him pick him up because the offensive line had their backs turned, and he had to get up himself. But the next time he did that, I think Trey Smith helped him up. I love Kareem Hunt. I'm glad he's back. He's definitely needed, but they're running him so much in the tackles. He's getting 20. We're going to look at the individual stats. Maybe he had like 21 carries for 78 yards, 21 for 59. So 2.8 yards. He's just taking a pounding. And I'm concerned with what that's going to do to him. I know he had a hip. What was he? He had a hip last week. He didn't practice Wednesday. So I'm just worried that they're going to need somebody of significance to split time with him because Pacheco's not back yet. What do you think of that, Lance?
No, I think you're right. I think there's also a mixture of other things that are at play as well, with the fact that Kareem Hunt hasn't been acclimated to the pace of what he's taking on, because he didn't have training camp. He wasn't with the team this whole time. If that had been the case, I wouldn't be as worried. I do think that his body's been doing, because I heard after that Chargers game, he could barely walk. I mean, they had him on ice the entire time. So his body is just getting acclimated to the rigors of the game again, because he hasn't really played a lot of football lately. So, but I am with you, Shaggy. I think that the problem, though, however, is up to about this week, the Chiefs really haven't had much choice other than just to kind of ride Kareem Hunt, man, because the passing game has been very inept, very inconsistent. They've had very limited resources for Patrick to throw the ball to, that they've had to run such a balanced, dare I say, overly Marty Ball style of offense, to where they've had to rely on Kareem Hunt. That's why I said on Twitter during the Saints game, it was during the Saints game, Kareem Hunt has saved this offense. You guys imagine what would happen if Kareem Hunt would have signed with a team this offseason? Yeah, you could say, oh, they would have found somebody else. How many guys fit this offense as perfectly as Kareem Hunt does? That's why I said they should have never got rid of him in the first place. They should have suspended him, but we can go down that road another time. The point is, this is a perfect fit for this offense. He still is a seamless fit. That's why he's been so effective. In 4 games, he has 4 touchdowns, and he's doing his job to the best of his abilities. What I think is going to happen, and why I think we should take a deep breath with this, is the fact that 1, he continues to stay healthy despite all the beating he's taking, and 2, we know that at some point Pacheco will be back in November, which means that he's going to be the one that's going to be getting a lot of those bulk, ugly those have to get him kind of yard plays, things like that. And Kareem is going to be the one that's more sprinkled in and kept fresh, because he's the guy that can play a lot more other things. He can be the guy that actually can become more of a pass-friendly type of a receiving style of back, like he used to be back in the days when he first started with Patrick Mahomes in 2018, where he caught 7 touchdowns that season through 10 games. That's the kind of guy I think that Andy Reid wants him to become, but because of the fact the demand is so heavy to get those between the tackle type runs, Kareem doesn't really have a choice. Luckily, he's big enough to be able to withstand it.
Yeah, we had a question here from back at 87. When does Clyde get back? That's a good question. I keep saying, whoa, well, this will be the week. This will be the week. And then he's just inactive. So that's a good question when he's finally ready to actually get on the field. I might think this week, but I've said that the past 2 weeks. So I hate to say anything at this point on whether he's going to be there or whether the Chiefs even really need him at this point. Like Lance was saying, it'd be nice to have somebody spell him, whether that's Clyde, whether that's Carson Steele starts getting more reps or being more effective. Samaje Perine starts getting some more work, but we'll kind of see as that goes. But Clint Skip Bayless is on Twitter, and I know you think he's gone, Undisputed's gone, but no, he's still around if you search for it. If you look deep enough on Twitter, you can find it, or X, whatever you say. And he kind of goes through the stages of denial and then acceptance, saying, unbelievable, the Raiders can't score from the 5 on 4 tries. How lucky are the Chiefs that Minshew is the quarterback? And then some more, he can't believe Mahomes can run as well as he can. He thought that was just for Lamar. And then, oh, well, it's Mahomes versus Minshew. What did you expect? Oh,
I love this man. I love Skip Bayless for this reason. I think it's great. Skip hasn't tried to give any October Super Bowl championships to the Ravens yet, so we'll maybe give him credit for that I know of. So as Skip is what you have to keep in mind, guys, Skip has been through it this year. The day before, his Vanderbilt Commodores came up just shy in an upset bid over the Texas Longhorns. And then just a few hours after this, he had to go through it all over again with the Dallas Cowboys getting annihilated by San Francisco before staging a late comeback that ultimately fell short. Skip has been through it. Whenever you lock in on an idea, which is that Patrick Mahomes is no good, which he's done from the beginning, and you have to live and die by that idea, every moment has to be completely agonizing. So you're watching these games from a completely different universe than the rest of humanity and having to come up with reasons why it's happening. And it's got to be emotionally torturous. I can't imagine. Skip, I feel for you, and I am here for you if you need anything.
Yeah, I showed Carlos, my son here, that clip earlier. I showed him the tweets, and he lifted a finger that I can't show you on this show.
Yeah.
So he's currently grounded. He's currently grounded right now. But no, I look, guys, we've all known Skip for many years. This is his brand. This is his routine. He finds the hierarchy that everyone else has drawn attention to, and he finds a way to be anti that, to garner that attention, to be he's revolutionized sports talk for better or worse. He's the guy that is the contrarian, gets everybody pissed off, everybody riled up for saying ridiculous crap like this, to find a way to. He still believes that Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. I don't know how. I don't even know if he really believes that. I don't even know who Skip really is. Skip's not even his real name.
True.
His real name is John Bayless.
Your name is Harry, isn't it? Yeah.
Thank you. His name is John Bayless. Like he's named after his father, and he hates that. But that's the fact. So even his name is fraudulent. So we should expect this from a fraud like this dude who's been fired multiple times this year. So that's just how it goes with guys like him, man. The act is up, the shtick is up, and that's why when I see this, I just kind of roll my eyes. I'm like, bro, I've been seeing this since I was like in high school. It's just old now. It's literally like Skip Bayless. It's old. That's what it's become, man. And I just love it. I think it's hilarious that this is his only way of trying to garner attention is to grab at the teat of the Chiefs' success.
Yeah, and Shane, we've got some Raiders fans crying here. And during Max's press conference, they were commenting underneath, giving up. We will not win another game this season. This franchise has hit rock bottom. It's disgraceful. Poor Max stuck playing for an XFL team. Stay off Chiefs bulletin board, or this will keep happening. We can't score on the 1 yard line. Same shit, different year. Just Raiders fans are just Clint likes to say that just every year, every week, it's a brand new wash it fresh. So I'm sure it's Tuesday by now. I'm sure they're back on. No, wait, we still got a shot at the playoffs. The Raiders, if we just make a move, maybe Desmond Ritter's the answer at quarterback.
That's
Yeah,
it.
what was that? What was that? I mean, that was an important
He
drive.
actually
They
came in the
started-
game. Yeah, what
Yeah.
was that?
I mean,
Yep.
they started that drive at the 28 after the punt return and the Joshua Williams hit late. So they're at the 28-yard line. They run a play for 1 yard. Then they put in Desmond Ridder, who throws it. And now it's 3rd and 9. I'm like, man, they're just about to waste this. Who is this? Who?
It's not like
I
this.
thought
Is
they
not
were
like the Raiders at
replacing
all.
him. Like,
It
No.
was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I was like, wait a minute, who is this guy and why is he in now? But specifically, I like that corner, that street, FCK around and find out. That's awesome work. And that's what the Raiders are doing. I like that street for the Raiders to go down there and see what happens when you screw with the one they call Patrick LeVon Mahomes II. And we're going to get him back on Black Friday. So don't eat too much turkey, or when you're going to eat your turkey, eat your seconds when the Chiefs play the Raiders here on Black Friday. We're going to want to get them back for then as well. This talking crap on the Chiefs will never end. Trust me. My first Chiefs game was in 1977 at Arrowhead, and it was against Ken Stabler and the Oakland Raiders. This rivalry is longer than I've been alive. So we're going to give them some get back on Black Friday as well.
Absolutely. And guys, I mean, apparently Sky Moore is really injured, or at least the Chiefs are making this look really, really good by getting this Vincera Institute put on his bedroom wall. That's in Philadelphia, I believe, is the Vincera Institute. But I believe that Sky Moore is in his house, and that's his bedroom. And the Chiefs came over and put a bed sheet on, got a little monitor, put that logo on the back of his wall, and like, core muscle injury, right, Sky? Right?
Hey, part of me thought we were going to see Stone Cold Steve Austin dressed as a nurse back there coming up saying, I'll take it from here, nurse. That's what I thought we might see back there, and some Attitude Era beatdown or something occur. Or maybe Mankind coming in and showing Sky Moore some like this Mr. Sacco puppet and trying to make him feel all better. That's what I thought was going to happen. That's how much of a parody I thought this was. Lance said it as soon as it happened. He goes, the Chiefs aren't actually don't expect us to take this seriously. Well, Lance, they are going to great lengths to make sure that it is taken seriously. And obviously, tongue in cheek a bit here, we know that the signs are pointing towards the fact that Sky Moore went under the knife in some capacity. We're assuming that actually is what happened, but in this alternate universe,
and he's with these other
Lance,
great
you
receivers.
kind of called it. Yeah. Woo. Well, yeah. Look at the numbers. We miss you, Sky. Please come back. Never.
I'll say this. The Chiefs media brass or web, whoever runs their web, is definitely going all out to show Sky Moore in that predicament post-surgery. I think it's a bit excessive because I mean, let me first, anybody goes under the knife, you hope and pray that they rebound and have successful life. But the Chiefs selling Sky Moore surgery like that it's a bit excessive. It's yeah. I feel sorry for him. What do you think of that, Lance?
No, some of my favorite actors of all time is Leonardo DiCaprio, Denzel Washington, Colin Farrell. Those are some of my favorite actors. Sky Moore might climb my top 5 because this is dedication to the craft right here, boys and girls. And look, you're right, Shane. In all seriousness, obviously we all hope that everything's okay. But here's the thing. We know everything's okay. You know how we know everything's okay? Because before D-Hop was signed by the Chiefs, Sky Moore was active and a full participant in every single practice this season. We know what this is. This was them finding an avenue, finding a loophole to get him off the damn team because he's absolutely useless. Literally, the Water Boy's been more effective this year than Sky Moore. They had to create roster spots. This is what has to happen. So, yes, he probably did have some surgery. You know who else has surgery almost every single year? Just about every other NFL player. It can be minor, it can be major, it can be medium, it can be whatever. Everybody has something going on because everybody has, wears and tears on their feet, their ankles, their shoulders, or whatever the case is. When Willie Rofe was on the show a few months ago, he was talking about all the extensive work he had throughout his career. All his buddies, guys who were backups, were getting surgery constantly. It's wear and tear, even for guys like Sky Moore who are out there. You know what it probably was? It probably was his cuticles, because it has to take some serious pain to drop that many passes in a row like that for him. So I would imagine it was probably a hand injury that he suffered. They wanted to say it was a core injury. I didn't know your core was on your palms, but we find something new every day in science. Science is constantly evolving. So hallelujah to that. That's all I got to say about it, guys. But it was great dedication to the craft. Shout out to the Chiefs for selling this to us, like you said, Clint. And shout out to Sky Moore for entering his Martin Scorsese. Pure cinema.
I love that. I love that he's making your top 5. That's an important distinction for Sky. Maybe you can give him an award or something. But Dakota Wolf says, do you think Joshua Uche, as he likes to be called, is going to be good with the Chiefs? And we have this graphic that says, yes.
Yeah, baby.
Somebody's got to replace Mike Dana. He's got a pectoral issue, so we don't know specifically when he's coming back. And I think this was a trade to pick for him, because I think if Mike Dana's healthy and with Charles Omenihu coming back and you're still playing Felix, unless they're going to trade Felix or something crazy, this tells me more about Mike Dana not playing, but it is an upgrade. It is an upgrade for Mike Dana. What do you think, Lance?
Yeah, so this to me is two things. I think this can actually be two different things at once. The Chiefs had a real vision with Joshua Uche in this whole situation. They are hedging their bets. I think they are obviously optimistic that Charles Omenihu is going to be back to being who he was. But we all know the ACL injuries are very unpredictable. And I think that there is a chance that Charles Omenihu comes back and is not the same guy. So they looked at this and said, look, we can give up a 2026 6th-round pick, pay essentially nothing for this guy who's at the top of the league in pass rush rate. What are we doing other than this move? This is a common sense move for them to make, especially when you topple along the fact that they do have a guy they just gave a 3-year deal to in Mike Dana with a real injury, an injury that is lingering now for weeks upon weeks. Not to mention the fact the guy they invested a 1st-round pick in just 2 years ago in FAU, who has not developed into the guy they're hoping him to be yet. Maybe that will happen, or maybe that won't, guys. There are 3 different avenues right now this is going down, and Uche can fill the role of all 3 of those situations. He can be a solution to all 3 of those problems. So I'm looking at this as more than likely it's only going to have to fill one of those problems, because the other 2 are probably going to work themselves out. But even if it doesn't, you got yourself a depth piece for next to nothing financially and draft asset wise. This is a slam freaking dunk from Brett Veach. This is a just typical Veach season type of move, fleeced by Veach type of move, man, because this is the kind of guy that can make a big play, a strip sack fumble in a 4th down play in a situation in the AFC Championship that can be the difference between the Chiefs three-peating and not three-peating. I don't want to sound hyperbolic, but that is literally what this kind of guy can be. These are the guys that make the difference. You guys remember that Philadelphia New England Super Bowl just about 6-7 years ago? Everybody thought, Nick Foles played his ass off. Tom Brady was throwing the ball over the field. But it was Brandon Graham that made the strip sack fumble that created that won the game for the Eagles. That was like 80 combined points in that game. It took one defensive play. And that is something that I think Uche, we can maybe clip this, because this could be that guy. I'm telling you this right now. That could be the difference between the Chiefs three-peating and not three-peating. And I think Brett Veach knew that. And that's why they went and made this common sense move.
Well, the difference between the Chiefs three-peating and not three-peating is the Detroit Lions, as Mark Schlereth says. I watched the Detroit Lions play, so I can't talk about the Chiefs being the best team. And Jason McIntyre, I don't even think the Chiefs are one of the 3 best teams in the league right now. And I like Buffalo and Baltimore. And then we've got our good friend Craig Carton. The craziest thing about the Chiefs being undefeated is they're not the best team. So, Clint, I know this is your favorite topic. The 7-0 team can't be the best team. So it's the Lions, right?
Yes, it's the Lions, whoever it wants to be next week. Maybe we can get the Rams back into this conversation after a few more wins with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back for the Rams. That seems like a good candidate for a few weeks from now. And did you see the Niners? Christian McCaffrey's coming back. You get the Niners to like 7-4. Oh my God. Yeah, this is what it is. National media, we know it. We've seen it. Nick Wright called him out this week after the game and said, hey, look, It'd be crazy to think that the team with the best defense, the best quarterback, the best coach, the best special teams, that's actually also happens to be undefeated, that this might be the best team in football. Oh, and by the way, this is not the 2021 Rams or a random team like 2 years ago, the Vikings starting 7-0. No, this is a team that's actually won 3 Super Bowls. We can't give that the benefit of the doubt because you know what, guys? That's not very exciting. We would have to be a show like this where we just continue to heap praise upon a team. This is not a Chiefs Mania show all around the country. We got to keep viewers. We got to keep someone invested. So got to hand out October and November's Lombardis to anyone else. So it's going to be interesting to see who it is. I got some ideas. I'm going deep. I think we got a 4-loss Rams team out there that I think's a candidate coming up very soon.
Well, to that point, can the 4th or 5th best team in the NFL go undefeated? I mean, we look at the schedule here. Obviously, we're looking at the Bills, maybe the Texans, although they just lost Stephon Diggs, who's out for the rest of the year with a torn ACL. But can this team, this 4th best at maybe best team, go undefeated? Shane, what do you say?
If we stay healthy, nobody's beating us. And I know Lance, in his own prediction, he's got us losing 2 games. The one being the last game where we rest our starters against Denver, and one being Buffalo, and it's in Buffalo. And when you if you take off your homer glasses like I am right now, the Chiefs should lose 2 or 3 games. And I watched, and I can't stress that enough. The way the Chiefs went into San Francisco and just said, we're better. They kept them at an arm's length, and I'm just waiting for us to get stomped because there's always that one game of the season where the Chiefs lose by 10 or 11. There's always that one game a year, and I thought this is it. We went for a fake punt, set them up shop at the 50 because we didn't get the fake punt, and guess what? Our defense said, nope. Just like the Raiders. The Raiders had back-to-back drives in the third quarter. One drive started at the 28-yard line. One drive started at the 4-yard line. Our defense went, nope. They got 3 points out of that. It's hard for me to think that Josh Allen is going to put up 21 points even at home against this defense, even without Jalen Watson, even without Najee Johnson. Until an opposing offense shows, hey, we can score 21 on this defense, and if the defense stays healthy, I do not see another team beating us. Does that mean we're going to go undefeated? I don't know. But like I said, this is a defense. This freaking team is defense. Our mindset and their personality, the heart and soul of this freaking team is defense because they do not give up more than 16 points. What do you think, Clint?
Yeah, it truly is unbelievable, and people are talking about it. I think the Chiefs are 1 win away from tying the record of the 2000 Ravens for consecutive games holding a team to 28 points or less. Currently, I think it's 27 straight games the Chiefs have held an opponent to 27 points or less. That has not been done in 17 years. Wow. You know, we think about some of the defenses like the 2015 Broncos that completely willed their team to victory when they weren't very good, when Peyton Manning is just handing the ball off, coming off the bench after he'd been benched for Brock Osweiler. We think about the 03 Bucks. We think about the 2000 Ravens. I mean, this Chiefs defense did it last year, and they're doing it again now. And God help us if DeAndre Hopkins can actually put up the numbers like what Lance has predicted that he can put up. God help us if Isaiah Pacheco comes back healthy, and the Lord above, watch out if Hollywood Brown gets back in December. Noah, I have visions dancing in my head because, like we've talked about, Noah, there is no added pressure for going undefeated. You're already chasing a three-peat, which has never been done. So why not just add, oh, and by the way, they're also 17-0 heading into the playoffs into that. Why not heap that onto their backs while we're right?
Well, hey, can I? Yeah. I wanted to say something real quick to that because I think that's you set that up perfectly, Clint. Why not? That's the whole question. And so you guys know that I do right now believe the Chiefs are going to lose at least one game this season. I think realistically we all do, right? In fact, I think if I'm not mistaken, 3 of these guys on my show right here predicted the Chiefs to lose. But I digress. The point is, I look at this and I say, okay, because people have been asking me nonstop in person, on Twitter, wherever the case is, Lance, when do you start buying into this idea that it could happen? And it is simple. It's when my first loss happens. If the Chiefs go into Buffalo and go 10-0, They start this season out 10-0. I look at it in the same analogy form because I played baseball growing up, and every once in a while we'd have one of our pitchers, for the first couple of innings, shutting the team down, giving up no hits. We're like, oh, okay, he's having a good start. And then it gets to like that 6th inning, and then you all start looking around. You're like, guys, he might do this. Like, he might legit get this no-hitter. And nobody say anything to him. It's an unwritten rule. You don't talk to the pitcher. You don't talk to the pitcher. Let him focus. He's on a roll. You call him butter. You know what I mean? Like, let him roll. Let him do his thing. That's what I envision this Bills game for the Chiefs is. If they get the Bills Super Bowl, they beat the Bills in their Super Bowl and go 10-0, we have to legitimately start to entertain this thought. And again, to your point, Clint, why not? Because it would be the ultimate cherry on top of a three-peat that's never been done before if they do what they do 2 things in one season the Patriots couldn't do. Go undefeated throughout the whole thing and hit a three-peat. If they did that, there is no more debating what the greatest dynasty in sports is. If the Chiefs pull this off, and I'm starting to believe it myself. I'm keeping my prediction as is. But if they do prove me wrong, and they go 10-0, then they have the Panthers, they have the Broncos twice, they have the Chargers one more time, they have the banged up Texans team, a fraudulent Steelers team. If they start playing these teams, the Browns, yeah, you have to start entertaining the thought, guys. And there is no way in hell Andy Reid, I know he's a guy that infamously loves to rest his starters at the end of the season, which I normally agree with. I do normally agree with because it paid dividends last season, but the Chiefs knew they were locked into the 3 seed last year. If they're 15-16-0, you bet your ass Andy Reid's going to let them go after it at least for a half and see where the game's going. And you know that they want history. This team wants it, man. So again, Clint, for the 3rd time, I'm quoting you. Why not?
Yeah, Lance, you talking about Andy resting his starters. That's kind of what I was bringing up to Clint when I was talking about it. I was like, well, he may that last game against the Broncos just until the game gets out of hand. But that's not what this team does. They don't get out of hand. It's going to have to go down to the wire. And so you're going to have to play your starters the entire game to try and eke out a win there in week 18. But I also want to go to the apple of many of Chiefs Kingdom's eye, which mainly mine. I wanted Deontay Johnson. More than happy with DeAndre Hopkins, but he goes to Baltimore, who felt desperate in needing to make this move because they lost to the Browns with Jameis Winston out here quoting Eminem and Jesus in one sentence at the end of the game. I don't know what we make of this. Ravens are the best team in the NFL. Oh, they lost to the Browns. Oh, they got Deontay Johnson. They're the best team again because they got Deontay Johnson after losing the Browns. Now this makes them more dangerous on offense. Lamar is a great passer. Now he's got another weapon. This is so confusing to me how we go back and forth on who the best team is and the Ravens after they lose to the Browns, after being anointed as the kings of the NFL. Who can stop them? Lamar, another MVP. But I have to ask it, and I will go to you, Clint. What do you make of the Chiefs' defensive backs? Najee Johnson went out with a concussion. Josh Williams didn't have a good game. And now we got to face potentially Deontay Johnson. Amari Cooper is with the Bills. That game's coming up, but Deontay Johnson possibly in the playoffs. Do the Chiefs need to go get a corner?
It was on the table for me. I think this Josh Uche thing kind of took precedent over this corner situation, which maybe surprised a lot of people. I do think the Chiefs are done when it comes to that. I trust in this process. Like Shane said, I trust in whoever's back there. This secondary has not missed a beat. There are concerns. Najee Johnson struggled a bit, you could say, as the Raiders did. I think they had 120 yards on their first 2 drives before the Chiefs defense does what they do and completely shut down the Raiders. And it's what they do. And I Joshua Williams playing meaningful snaps. We're going to see, we've seen rookies in there. We've seen guys play meaningful snaps here. And I think that maybe it's a good time for that to happen. And maybe Najee, we don't know how long he's going to be out when he'll clear concussion protocol, but these are good games for this secondary to get acclimated to what they're going to have to do in Jalen Watson's absence. So I'm not worried about it. The Ravens, Deontay Johnson, that was a player we all kind of coveted, but DeAndre Hopkins, forget it. I like DeAndre Hopkins better as a person, as a player. He's one of my favorite receivers of all time. I love the guy. Like, you could tell he's bought in, that he came in there and everything he did, he was taking pictures, he was doing videos, he's posting things on his Instagram that really indicated that he's all in on this. And Deontay Johnson, I don't know. It just seems like there's something about the Ravens that is not quite as a family, as an atmosphere as a wilderness brotherhood as it exists here in Kansas City. Maybe that's just bias. Maybe that's just rose-colored glasses. Baltimore just seems a little volatile to me. How many times does Lamar Jackson throwing his helmet down? They're already twice this season. They just don't. They seem a little contentious, if you will. They're one of those couples I talk about that likes to fight and get back together. So I don't know where we are with the Ravens.
And I think that maybe the Deontay Johnson thing, maybe why the Chiefs possibly weren't interested and went the DeAndre Hopkins route. They obviously liked DeAndre Hopkins, did their homework in 2023 before he chose more money in the Titans. But I think Deontay Johnson, there was a lot of talk when he was still with the Steelers that last year about him and Pickens not blocking, him not being a good role model for Pickens. And I just, they're out on those guys. Obviously, they had questions about Pickens in the draft, so they chose a player that can't play football instead. And so they're just out on any guys who can be a locker room problem or not show maximum effort on the field, no matter what their responsibility calls for.
Yeah, my draft insider, Ron Tepper, lives in Pittsburgh, and he watches the Steelers closely, and he said behind the scenes there was a lot of Deontay Johnson was unhappy. He was disgruntled. He was kind of a locker room cancer. So I think any negativity about that would keep Brett Veach from entertaining the thought of trading for him. DeAndre Hopkins, you guys flew down to Miami to sit down face-to-face and interview him. And then a few hours later, you spent some time with him in Miami that night. So you got an idea what he's like. Wow. Behind the scenes. And there's have we ever heard DeAndre Hopkins is a cancer from anybody? The Texans, the Cardinals?
No, great person, great teammate, great player, does his role. Never heard anything coming out of the Titans with Will Levis and Mason Rudolph and Calvin Ridley getting catches and that offense just kind of mulling its way through a game and muddying its way through a game and not being able to throw the ball much or have any success on offense. You never heard one thing out of DeAndre.
Well, let me say this real quick. Deontay Johnson would have worked here in Kansas City. I understand that he had some off-field issues or integrity issues, whatever's been accused of him. I get that. But we've seen guys.
I think they go too far with that. I think it would have worked too.
I agree. I think Andy Reid would have definitely got him focused. I think that just the culture in Kansas City is so, we've heard it from so many former players. It is infectious. You buy in. You just can't help it. And I think Deontay Johnson would have been one of those guys. I have that faith, but I'm with you guys. You obviously know I've been pounding this table for 17, 18 months. D-Hop was the guy all along that I always wanted. I'm so glad he's finally here. It was a dream come true to see Patrick Mahomes throwing a ball to him this week. I just couldn't believe it actually is happening. They made me wait a damn year too late for it, but it finally happened. We saw that Cam Robinson just got traded to the Vikings, and I know that people were talking about the Chiefs trying to get a left tackle. Listen to me. I'm going to say this boldly. I'm going to continue to stand on my ground here because usually I'm right about these things, and I feel like I'm going to be right about this one. The Chiefs have been benching their only true left tackle for the last 6 weeks for no particular reason. Wanya Morris was getting his ass handed to him once again by the Raiders. Now we get it. People were trying to say, well, Lance, and I feel like I'm Shaggy. Well, hold on here, Shaggy. Listen, I understand it's Max Crosby. No crap. The dude's an amazing pass rusher, one of the best in the league. So it makes sense that Wanya had a bad game. This is the same reason they sat Kingsley after 2 career games against 2 of the best pass rushers in the league. So don't sell me on Wanya struggling against good pass rushers when he was supposed to be the guy that brought the balance. And if you see most of the time when Wanya is in there, he's getting chip protection from tight ends and running backs. That's not something Kingsley got. So everybody's all pissed off that they didn't get Cam Robinson. This has to tell me something, that they know they have the guy, and for whatever reason, they're not moving back to him. Give him his shot, let him grow into his role. That's all I'm asking here, man, because it's not working with Wanya. He is getting blown up. If you watch the tape, he is getting blown up. He's not a true left tackle. I'm not even dissing Wanya. I think he's a guard or right tackle. I think he's one of those kinds of guys. I think he can play a role in this team for years to come. But it's not left tackle, damn it. They have one left tackle. They took a chance on him in the second round. And he is Kingsley Suamataia, and they need to play him. They need to let him grow. He might make mistakes, but I'm telling you, that man is a specimen. He's going to learn, and he's going to be the left tackle for the future. And the reason I am confident that the Chiefs believe that too is because they didn't go after Cam Robinson. I think it was like minor draft compensation per Tom Pelissero. The Chiefs could have absolutely went and got Cam Robinson if they wanted to. That's all I'm saying, guys. Like, the math is mathing on my side of this. They need to go back to their only true left tackle on the roster.
Definitely. I can't disagree with that because Wanya Morris has struggled. And I think Kingsley will return. I just got a feeling he will return because Wanya Morris isn't doing enough to solidify the starting left tackle position. I mean, I haven't seen an upgrade. I've seen somebody who's been in the league a year longer, but I think if this guy's your second round draft pick, he played the first 2 games, I think he eventually will be the starter. Would you agree, Noah?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it'll be his time sooner rather than later. But it is time for predictions, and we've got.
I didn't need to talk about the offensive line. You want to stick around later? You send us enough stars in the chat. You can stay up afterwards and get on our after show. Offensive Line Allies, brought to you by Hulk Hogan's Real American Beer. Stay on afterwards, and you can get an hour of offensive line talk on me, brothers. F word.
I knew Clint was going to get his pound of flesh. I knew it.
I hate offensive lines. I freaking hate them.
I saw him falling asleep over there. Just like,
oh my God.
Well, I don't know, Clint. Are you ready for predictions, or do you need a moment to cool down before it's your turn here?
Hey, I'm the Nature Boy Ric Flair today, and I'll tell you, he's the biggest Bucs fan out there. Of course, Rick likes to go, where the iron's hot. He was a Michigan fan. Who knows what he is in college football this year? Michigan's down. I like what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are doing offensively. Baker Mayfield, one of the leading passers in the National Football League right now, coming in here, doing it this past week without his 2 biggest weapons. We heard Kevin Ross talk about it, that you got next man up. The Chiefs are experiencing that right now. With that said, I think this is another you've seen one Chiefs game, you've seen them all. You just watched the Raiders game. I think that's what you're going to watch on Monday night. Something like the Chiefs winning 26-19 on Monday Night Football, and we're all going to walk away and go, well, there ain't no, but let's see who else is better than this outfit right now.
I got the Chiefs. The game will be tied 10-10 at halftime, and Lance will be bitching about Wanya Morse on Twitter.
Oh, God.
But the Chiefs will pull away in the second half and win 31-10 behind Patrick Mahomes and D-Hop connecting. D-Hop will have over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown, and Kelsey will have a touchdown as well. 31-10 Chiefs.
Wow. I love that score, and I love that optimism. I'm going to say this, guys, that Patrick Mahomes in primetime games, let alone against the NFC, usually does his thing. And I think that, like I talk about the juice of D-Hop being in this offense. Now he has another week of real practice with this team. He actually has an actual week of practice with this team. I think that's going to pay dividends in this one. If you're a betting man, I would say that you take DeAndre Hopkins' yards. I even say DeAndre Hopkins gets a touchdown in this game. I'm going to predict that as well. And the running game is going to continue to be balanced. The Buccaneers defense, and Kevin, if you're watching this, please turn it off real quick because I don't mean any disrespect. But the Bucs defense is really bad.
Yeah,
really bad. And it's just a fact. And the Chiefs are going to capitalize on that. I understand the Bills game's coming up, and everyone's like, "Oh, this might be that one like sandwich game. It might be like the game they don't pay." Guys, that's not how the Chiefs operate. Just like Clint said, they play the same game every damn week. It's what they do, guys. And the Chiefs are going to dominate the Buccaneers in this game. That is what they're going to do in this game. Baker Mayfield is down his 2 best weapons, who happen to be 2 of the best weapons in football. That is not something you can overcome and come into Arrowhead on Monday night and put up a real fight. I think they're going to fight, but is it going to be a real fight? I don't believe that. I think the Chiefs, if you look at the 3 NFC games so far this season, they've won by a combined 28 points. I think the Chiefs are going to be a team that wins this game by double digits, and I think they're going to win this game 28-14.
Okay, we 3 Chiefs here. Arg me mateys, I'm coming for that booty.
Justin Reed, is that you?
Hold on, I just got word that Mike Evans is out, so we're still. Chris Godwin's out too. Well, forget this shit. I mean, Kansas fans out there, I don't like to curse. Kansas fans out there like to say, they don't want to curse either. So they say, muck fazoo. Well, I don't want to curse either. So I'm going to say, buck the fox. Okay, buck the fox. It is 30-16 out here. Chiefs win by 14. I didn't want to curse, so I had to do it. I had to just make that switch right there. But without Godwin, without Evans, this is Chiefs party on Monday night.
I'm entertained.
You heard it from Noah Groniger, Lance Woodwell, the great Clint Schweitzer, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, styling and profiling. Tune in Saturday morning, we'll play Spoken right here on Starcade. The next Monday night, come back to Starcade. The Shaggy Shannon Harvey Williams will be freaking talking to former special teams guru and strong safety Benny Thompson, and we will break down the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Kansas City Chiefs, freaks worldwide of all ages. Thank you, Kevin Ross. I love you, baby.
Woo! That's our show. We're desperately out of time. Go Chiefs!